It's Saturday morning. We've come down to Son Bugadelles industrial estate, so we're close to Santa Ponsa today, and every Saturday morning they have a car boot sale or a flea market, so we've just come to have a little look around. So off we go. Each Saturday morning, under normal circumstances anyway, there's a flea market here, car boot sale, where you can buy just about anything. I've just seen someone walking out with an old tin bath. Quite often it's junk. Every now and again you see something that catches your eye. Some things newer than others. Under normal circumstances this would be full of stalls, full of people selling. I'm not sure why today. There seems to be quite a few gaps. So as far as I know, markets now are allowed 100% capacity. There has been a restriction recently, so that they couldn't have 100% capacity. That was withdrawn a week or so ago. So people now can, there's a drum kit there. Under normal circumstances that would catch Anita's eye. She likes to get things like that, bargains for school. In the past she's bought things like bongo drums from the flea market for all the children to use. It's very popular with the locals, but also with the foreign community as well. So we find all nationalities here. If you're watching this in the normal mode, I'm also doing the recording, which is 360, and so you go over to the 360 channel and you can really have a good look around, because there you'll be able to pause it and look at all the different stalls to see what's for sale. And it's quite a bartering sort of place. You can make an offer, do an exchange, do a swap. For the most part, things are really quite cheap, never more than a few euros. You do get some stalls which are professionals more like, and they will try and charge a lot of money. And sometimes they're antiques, sometimes they are worth that money. If you're coming here on holiday, it's not too far from Santa Ponsa. It's just on the outskirts of Santa Ponsa industrial estate. And it's not really too far from Palmanova or Magaluf, so if it's your sort of thing. I've just noticed there is a bus. I don't know where the bus routes go, but a bus comes through here. Or I can't imagine it could be a lot of money in a taxi. But as you can see, it's an interesting place. You buy yourself a bike to get yourself back to the hotel. It's quite extensive, so this is just the first part, and I'm just coming down one side of the first part, so there's another side to do of this, but we're actually going to go across the road now, and there's another big section down there. So these are just pieces of land that are not actually being used yet on the industrial estate, and it's been here for quite a few years. If you want a hamburger or pepito or hot dogs. I'm sure that store does really well. It's really quite warm today, and actually end of May the 29th, so it is quite warm. I wouldn't say it's hot, but it's warm. It's very, very pleasant. We've both said that we think it's actually normally warmer at this time of year. The weather forecast said around 24, 25 degrees for today. And quite curiously, they said similar temperatures for all parts of the UK. So our eldest daughter is up to the Isle of Wight today. The temperatures are in the mid-20s. They should have a lovely time. Our youngest daughter is visiting friends in London, so hopefully they will be having a lovely time. So, door hangers for keeping the flies out. Our son is bringing two of our granddaughters over today for us to look after this evening. So we're on grandparent duties this weekend. We have a friend, actually lives in England, Peter, and he always comes to the car boot sales primarily looking for antiques. And he tells me sometimes he can actually pay for his trip just by buying some antiques here and taking them back to the UK to sell. He obviously knows a lot more about these things than I do.
¿A qué hora, mami? Ahora.
Just walked past a mirror. Oh, walking past a mirror now. We've obviously had a really difficult 2 years, nearly 1.5 years with the pandemic. And the pandemic started as we were coming out of the winter. Many people here don't actually work in the winter. Their jobs are summer-based jobs. And so they haven't worked for nearly 2 years. Some of them would have been able to collect the furlough. Pretty much they're okay. And Spain's just announced that they are going to extend the furlough system until September for those businesses that are still not able to start up or start up properly. But a lot of people don't qualify for that, and so how they survive, I really don't know. They will get some sort of dole money, some sort of social security help. But it's not very much money, and it's really difficult to survive. And so this is a place where they've got anything that they can sell. They can actually raise a little bit of money. So for some families, It's a place of last resort. Others, of course, just treat it as a business, and they're constantly buying and selling stuff. You see things like these antiques. These actually are quite interesting constructions. These are works of art rather than antiques. Fascinating things. But Mallorca is gradually coming back to life. Lots of hotels are opening, lots of tourists are here now, and we're even seeing the beginning of the British tourists coming, even though Mallorca is currently only on an amber list. I read that today the islands are really low in the number of cases, incredibly low, much lower than the UK or anywhere else on the mainland of Spain, and as such should be on the green list. And when the green list comes under traffic light system, comes under review next week, the newspaper I was reading was saying we're probably still going to be on the amber list. Not because Mallorca's not safe, just because the border staff couldn't cope with the numbers of British tourists returning from Mallorca. And I think that's disgraceful. It's disgraceful that British tourists are not going to be able to come because the government can't supply enough staff to control the people coming back from Mallorca. And that could well be the case. We'll know in just over a week's time when the announcement is officially made. Some charities also set up here to raise money for their particular charities. I've not really noticed any today. They don't seem to make themselves clear. They don't advertise themselves as a charity, and perhaps they should. I think maybe that would help them to get more people to spend some money on their stalls, or even just make donations. And we're back to the hot dog stall. Anita's just bringing up the rear with her parasol. Anita's found some books she likes, so just negotiating with those. I gave her some money, she's kept the change. How typical is that?
I don't want to put this down.
And now I've got to carry the books that she's bought.
That's what you bought a bag for.
2 books in the bag.
€2.
€2. 2 books, €2.
No corras, descansa un rato.
There's the whole box sets of Friends down there. Notice that they're advertising the fact that the Friends have reunited from the series Friends. Am I the only person in the world that has never seen one episode of Friends? I don't know, maybe it was something that never appealed to me. I don't know. Getting a little bit more crowded now. Still have to socially distance. You notice people still wear the masks, and that's the law here. That's what we have to do. Though there was talk last week of well, relieving that restriction. I don't know whether they'll remove it completely, but certainly lowering the restriction. Some of the rules do seem a bit silly. I can understand wearing a mask when you're close to people, but the rule doesn't distinguish about how close you are. So even if you're in the middle of nowhere, you're supposed to wear a mask if you're outside. And that just seems silly. If there's nobody around, why should you be wearing a mask? Someone was asking also about smoking. I am very anti-smoking, but those of you who must follow the guidelines as well. So you can't smoke in bars. You haven't been able to smoke inside bars for a long time, and it's a similar rule for terraces now. You can't smoke on the terraces either. So if you want to smoke, you have to go outside the restaurant, outside the terrace, and you have to stand still and smoke. So you're not supposed to walk down the street smoking. There are just a lot of rules and regulations. It's really quite difficult to know what they are, as they change every 2 weeks. Interesting old computer bits. I'm always fascinated by old computer bits. Graphics tablet. More bicycles, more bits of bicycles. More bits of bicycles. Memorabilia. And more bicycles. All sorts in various states of repair. And there's a bus on its way to Palma. So it is on a bus route. So if you did want to come here, you could catch a bus, check it out, hotel, I'll tell you where to go. When we lived in England, they used to do a lot of repair jobs on the car, so I used to nip down to the scrapyard and find some various parts. So this is the equivalent of a scrapyard here in Mallorca, where they will dismantle cars. You don't do the dismantling, they will do it, and they will sell you whichever bit you want. But the thing that caught my eye was the fact that there is a police car up there. So the whole police car there dismantling, and then various other vehicles that will be dismantled. If you want a door, want a wing, or you want an engine or any part of it, this is where you would come. So I hope you've enjoyed our little walk around the Son Bugadelles industrial estate with the flea market car boot sale on today. There is actually a little bit more up at the top. We're not going up there today, but hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Bye.